What is the biggest, hardest project you've worked on here at Icon Water?
Here at Icon Water is probably a recent one that came out of them doing work on Commonwealth Avenue Bridge, which is a very large engineering landmark here in Canberra for us, for Canberra's engineering heritage. And we have 2 sewer rising mains running through that bridge, which are quite large. There's a 500 millimetre diameter and a 450 millimetre diameter. They've been there since 1960s when they built that bridge, and we need to CCTV them, so put a camera through them to inspect them, so that when they're doing those bridge works, we know what might have to happen to these to make sure these pipes live. So that involved shutting down that very large pump station during the whole day, making sure it was safe for the people who had to put the camera in the other end, which is a really big part of that, making sure it didn't have any water in it. So trying to have enough time to get the water out. That involved a couple of 5 a.m. starts on site and testing the weeks before to make sure we could get the water out, how long we could leave that station off. Can we have, because there were 2 rising mains, as I said, 2 pipes. So can we use one and safely have that one on with the other one empty? So there's a lot of that planning, and then being there when they're doing that and learning how they get the air out of the pumps at the end of the day, because it's not so good for pumps to have air in them either. That was a big logistical challenge as well, to change out. We had valves. We thought, oh, great opportunity. While it's empty, we've got some stuff we would like to do. So it was a really big challenge to get our field crews out there to change that valve, our mechanical crews out there to get the pumps off and drain everything, and to have the external contractors go and do the camera work for us. And that took a couple of weeks actually for them to do that, because it took them so long, about 2 days per main. So we had to take the whole thing off for about a week. So that was a good challenge that went well. Yeah, everything went well, because it took me months of planning.
And I never heard about it. So that shows it must have gone really well, because that's the trouble in the water industry. You only hear about it if it's gone bad.
No, it went great. So no one heard. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
One of the really cool projects that I was able to work on is we needed to inspect one of our oldest sewer, in fact. And it had become difficult to use a traditional camera for that, because there was some stuff in the bottom of the sewer that meant that it was difficult to get a normal camera in. They're on a little tractor, they got wheels, and it was slipping. And so we needed something that would go in, and it was unsafe to send a person.
Which is what I did.
Which is what I'm aware. I've read those reports. So we needed to find a much safer option that we could do as soon as possible. And I had talked to colleagues in other utilities, which is another really good resource, and they have a floating sewer camera, and they said, you can probably make your own. So I went and got a 360-degree GoPro camera and some camping lights and some expanding foam, and I made a floating boat that I put this camera on.
That was so cool. I love
it. Floated it down these sections of sewers and got a full 360 view of what was happening in these sewers. And because I kept it on a tether, I didn't let it go. I was able to retrieve it back even after it capsized. Everything was waterproof. It all still works, and we've used it since. So it was really cool to have that come to fruition, and the teams who supported me in, saying, no, this will work, let's go. And they went out there, we made sure we did it safely, because I still had to go in to launch the boat. So it was really cool to be able to just take that one little suggestion from a colleague in another utility and make that into something that means that we can now inspect this 100-year-old sewer in a really safe manner. What would you say has been your largest or biggest or proudest project that you've had here?
Yeah, look, I've been here 27 years. I have worked on lots of big projects. So I'm proud of several. It's a bit hard to bring them down. So I really a challenge. The first big one was helping build Stromlo Water Treatment Plant, the filtration plant after the Canberra bushfires. I was pretty green, and I was in this project that was under huge pressure to give Canberra filtration and in world record time. So that was really opened my eyes to how things can be done extremely quickly. Then I moved into wastewater, and I got to help change the way our Canberra's main sewage treatment plant, Wongalonglo, actually ran. We did an augmentation where we changed how the microbiological process worked. And I was the commissioning manager on that. So that was really cool, working in a really good team. And that's how I started to learn how wastewater treatment plants work, and then I just stayed in operations and learnt more and more and more. Now I get to be involved in the really big project, which is to double the size of that treatment plant, and I'm using all the experience that I've got to do that. But they're projects. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is actually the day-to-day operations. When you're in operations, you have to provide drinking water and treated effluent 24/7. It doesn't matter if there's been a storm that's cut down a tree to the power of the plant, or if there's a pandemic and you can't have all the people there, or you can't get the trucks of chemicals in, or there's so many things that go into providing those services day to day. So actually, my biggest challenge has actually been just doing the day-to-day business.
As you said before, because people haven't heard of it, it means you're doing a good job.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like our microscope at Longlow. And a few years ago, we had historical wet weather flows and inflows coming into the plant that were just never before seen. And the plant was really struggling under the weight of it. And we began actually looking at the bugs, the bacteria and the protozoa under the microscope every day. And we were trying to maximise the amount that the plant could take. And every day we looked at it, we'd make a change and then look at the bugs and go, okay, I think they're okay. We can push it a bit harder. No, they're not okay. And by doing that, we were able to reduce the amount of partially treated effluent that spilled over the dam. In fact, we prevented a whole second one from happening. And I'm pretty proud of that, because people don't usually spend their days looking at under the microscope. But and we still use regularly to monitor their health.